Formed in Oxford in 2018, Hypnotic Psych Collective. You know you're in trouble when they call themselves a collective rather than a band.
Yeah. Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. It's Andy, it's John, and it's time to listen to some music. John, you are going to be offering up something at the altar of the rock gods, I would imagine, for me to go off and listen to. What do you have in store? Yes, that's right. Son of the Beast. What do you have in store today, my friend?
Well, it's about time for some Iron Maiden. No. So bring your daughter to the slaughter. Great times. So there's a band, new band, called Mandrake, well, newish band called Mandrake Handshake, new to me, called Mandrake Handshake.
Okay. Mandrake Handshake. That sounds like one of the names I would bring to the channel and that you would scoff at immediately. So I'm gonna take the high road and be like, hey man, hell of a name. What
Yeah,
what's
totally agree.
what's the name of the track today by
So
Mandrake Handshake?
the track here is King Cnut.
King Cnut. Okay. I'm
Yes,
familiar
but
with
it's the traditional spelling of Knut, which is a dyslexic's nightmare. You'll see.
I already have a feeling. I have an idea of where this is going when you think about the consonants and one vowel sound that come from that name.
Very, very Anglo-Saxon. I think it might be triggering for at least one, if not a few of our regular viewers and contributors, but we will see.
Fair, fair. All right, well, let me be careful with this one. Let me go listen to King Cnut and come back and let you know my thoughts. An acoustic and an electric, and some maracas. What? I want to hear that again. I was about to comment, ooh, there's this weird little aquatic sound that's happening, and then whatever that was made it even more so. I know it's weird to describe music as aquatic, maybe, but it definitely felt, fluid. So let's listen to that again. Yeah, even the maracas is like water. This is interesting. All right, this has like world music and psychedelia. Those are the two words that jump out at me, and also aquatic because yeah, it definitely sounds of the water.
You never did it right. Shut out the light, kept out of sight. I'm seeing your web of lies, your flimsy disguise. Put me at ease. Oh yes, please.
Yeah, this is super interesting. I'm loving the acoustic and the electric guitar kind of working together. This video is obviously shot in a very campy way that is both fun and funny, and I'm trying not to let that like influence just the song as it stands, because that's really what I'm here to react to. But I'm kind of low-key enjoying the video, I'm not gonna lie. It's also shot in a way, and their aesthetic kind of conveys this classic psychedelic rock kind of, vibe, but I have a feeling that they have manufactured that this is probably far more contemporary than it is authentically of the period they're kind of tipping their cap to. But yeah, and then the aquatic thing I keep harping on, it makes perfect sense if this song is literally about like King Cnut and the whole, stemming the tide situation through just royal decree or something, if I'm not mistaken, something to that effect, right? So the idea of making it sound like of the water or of the sea completely checks out. So yeah, a lot of fun, this one, and I'm digging all of the instruments doing their part. That bass sounds great. These percussive instruments, that sort of cascading shaker sound, which again, cascading water makes sense. But there's some other elements in there too from an auxiliary percussive standpoint that really all of it adds this texture to the track, and it makes it that much more interesting and soothing. She's got a very sultry sound to her voice, while the her bandmates who are harmonizing, I don't know if it's mate or mates, have a very almost like ethereal sound to their delivery, which pairs well with her, and all of them collectively have this very dulcet sound to the vocals collectively. So yeah, let's go. I'm interest peaked here on this one. Vocals are great.
I'm losing direction, introspection, disconnection. In this situation, alienation, fleeting delights.
That's lovely. That bass sounds great. Walking away.
I'm
Descending guitar.
Why not burn down to ashes? All you fascists, all you punks. Give me apocalypse, bloody eclipse. Stop all your noise. Foolish boy.
Interesting digital synthy stuff. That acoustic.
Foolish boy.
Just clicks and synthy warbling. Just synthy warbling now. Ooh, I'm gonna stop it. Excellent timing there, Branch. Yeah, I loved this track. There's plenty going on, all of which I thought really worked well together to create this palette over which she could deliver her lyrics, many of which I didn't catch, if I'm being frank, which is a little odd. Given its niche subject matter, if the title is, if you're to assume from the title that that is what it is in fact about, that would normally be enough for me to be like, oh, interesting. What does she have to say about this? But my God, the textures of the music and just the rhythmic movements of the acoustic guitar and that bass work and all the percussion instruments working together all sounded fabulous. Even like, I don't want to harp on this too much either because I know I've mentioned it before, but her voice paired with her bandmates backing harmonies with the oohs and the ahs and all that vowel vocalization sounded so good in its airy etherealness compared with her like sultry, slightly subdued delivery. I thought that that was really cool, and it sounded great. Yeah, I did catch her say a couple times in there. Well, I caught when I finally started to focus on the lyrics. It was the line about fascists and punks and bloody apocalypse and some interesting word choices that are evocative in and of themselves. Given that I only caught that snippet, it did do a lot to paint a picture in totality of what was being addressed here. Now, I did catch a couple times this line, "foolish boy," which you could, levy that accusation at the titular character here, who was perhaps foolish enough to think that because of his royal blood that he could stop something as inevitable as the tides of the ocean or whatever. And again, let me bring up the whole tides in the ocean thing, because they did such a superb job of creating this palpable feeling of being in or around water that clearly was conveyed through the sound of the music. And I thought that was expertly done. I'm sure it was their intent, so kudos to them for firmly planting the hammer on the nail when it comes to that. I had a lot of fun with this one. I'm going to need John to explain a little bit more and connect some dots when it comes to the lyrics of this track, because I have thoughts, but they're not completely ironed out, and they're hardly confirmable by any detailed lyric catching on my part. So I'm sure he'll be able to do that, as well as tell me more about this very interestingly named band, Mandrake Handshake, or look at me, Mandrake Handshake. Forgive me. But yeah, that's the man to talk to, and I'm looking forward to it because my interest is certainly piqued. So let's get back to the man himself, shall we?
J. Alfred Prufrock, he's back. So you've dallianced with Cnut, king thereof, and Mandrake Handshake. I almost dare not ask. What do you make of it all?
There's a lot to make, that's for sure. So the song begins with this very soothing sounding chord progression on the guitar with a dash of what sounds like maracas or some other shaker type percussive hand instrument, which adds this lovely texture to the mix, and also enhances the calming nature of the sound crafted here in the opening salvo of the track. Shortly after the 20-second mark, we get a little vocalizing by the singer, and then the beat proper kind of drops from there. And it has a feeling of, clearly a feeling of psychedelic rock mixed with world music, given all the interesting instrumentation and the rhythms of the track. And that's great. I'm loving what I'm hearing so far. Wah laden electric guitar cascades over the music that has an almost aquatic sound to it before the singer begins to deliver the vocals. Now, aquatic for obvious reasons, given the only story I know about the titular character, like at all. Which water is integral to the whole fucking, moral of said story. Um, but also, and it doesn't just come in the form of this like affected guitar either. There are several times throughout this song that I instantly feel water. Like that like whatever it's connoting is liquid in nature, even down to those maracas that have like this idea of like either the sound of distant waves crashing or the ocean spray and even the word I use, cascade, like that is something that a liquid does. I mean, we almost exclusively think of like cascading waterfalls or a cascading torrent of rain, and so they're doing an excellent fucking job of integrating sounds that connote um, this feeling of, in this case, water, which is important to the whole story and operation that they've got going on here. So I'm admiring that. It sounds really, really great. Her sultry voice is coupled with some airy harmonies by her bandmates, and paired together, they sound very dulcet, combining well with this soothing nature of the music. And I just got to get this out of the way now. It's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. The way this video is shot and edited, it teeters between the line of campy and silly. But it is fun and at times funny. But I'm trying not to let it influence my reaction or my assessment of the song. But mostly, if there's a fan of this song out here or someone who's genuinely interested in it, you don't want to tune in and see some asshole going on and on about the visuals and not the meat of the music. But I have to say, I'm going to use this little blurb to be like, it was fun. It's interesting. I like the way it was shot. I like the nods to both those subgenres that I talked about earlier. Like there is this worldly, internationally, feel to the aesthetics. Also, it's like the grainy filter and all this stuff makes it look very classic. I mean, it was like it's like listening to a world music group combined with like Jefferson Airplane before they graduated to a starship. Like it's very psychedelic in its packaging, and I kind of dig that actually. I really dig that. Also, there are literal times when there's like aquatic imagery that is like coupled with the like the way it's edited and everything, which again leans into this theme that they have going on musically now that there's something visually to couple with it. But go ahead.
Yeah, just to say, they're not a massive band. You'll be shocked. And actually trying to get a hold of a video to give you, I mean, this is an official one. I've tried it to make sure that it doesn't get blocked.
Mm-hmm.
If you're watching this now, folks, then obviously it's not been blocked. So that was pretty much the only one I could get of it. But I did think the video was fun and interesting, aside from the song. The visuals would be something that also would tickle you, I think,
Yeah,
because it is
absolutely.
camp and silly at points as well. Yeah.
Yeah, without question. But the bottom line is it's fun, so it only adds to the experience if I'm, being honest with you. So there's also some really nice bass plucky, like it's got a plucky sound, does the bass in this one. It's still low and rich, but I don't know, there's just a little bit, it's not like slap punchy, it's just more this clearly plucked rhythmic quality to the bass line. And I really love it. It complements everything that's going on in the song with this kind of like bouncy, plucky movement. I think I catch the first line of the vocals at the 250-ish marker, which might be a personal fucking record for me as far as like how long I've waited to latch on to any lyrical content. But that's because visually there's so much shit going on, and musically there was a lot to unpack here too, because there's layers to a lot of the things that's going on. And like whether it's the lovely acoustic guitar or this really interesting affected electric guitar or all these trying to pinpoint the hand instruments, the bass work that I just alluded to, there's a lot to unpack here. So I fell in love with her tone. Didn't really focus on her lyrics until we got well into the song here, and she delivers the line, I'm not burned down to ashes, all you fascists, all you punks, which is interesting because the last thing I think of when I think of a punk is fascism. Usually, they're quite the opposite of that. So I thought that was interesting. This was followed by "Give Me a Apocalypse." Bloody Eclipse. At first I thought she said buddy, but I'm like, that's not working. You never say buddy eclipse. Stop all your noise, foolish boy. Not the last time we'll hear that line, foolish boy. I think there's like a bit of a pregnant pause between stop all your noise, foolish boy, but you hear that lyric used later in the song as well. After these lines, there are some like two bits of key driven instruments, one more sustained, and one I think is higher that has more of a punctuation type like punch to it. And they're kind of working off one another, and this sounds really, really great with the drums moving the rhythms along. And this is soon accompanied by those backing vowel vocalization bits from the like sort of that that's the bandmates are partaking in. I think at one point we see them emerge from the back of a mountain. I'm sure that was actual footage too. It looked completely altered. But yeah, they come up from behind this mountain range, singing their ahs along with her, and that's something that it just sounded really great. The lead vocalist rejoins, as does the wah forward guitar motif. The only thing I'm fairly confident is I heard her sing during this portion, sort of towards the end, was another foolish boy, as the
Yeah.
guitar was successfully competing for my attention. The song then comes to an end at that lone digital like sound, kind of like warbling, till it like abruptly comes to an end. I loved the music in this track. It was ethereal and soothing and aquatic. And for a song about a king who tried to manipulate the tides, there was an even like a palpable feeling in the music that reminded me of a body of water, as I noted. So I didn't catch a lot of the lyrics in this one, as I also mentioned, but I have to think that the line "foolish boy" was likely aimed at the titular character or the individual that the titular character is acting as a metaphor for. This, just whether it's literally about this king's foolish notion that his royal blood could somehow help him command the tides, or a metaphor for a stubborn or hubris riddled male that she encountered in her personal life, I don't know. But I thought it was really clever and interesting. Other than that, I'm not working with much here, so please expand on that for me. And while you're at it, tell me more about this really interesting band, name included. They seem like a real interesting bunch, and that there's like quite a bit of them, right? What are we talking about, 6 or 7 people in this band or something like that? Just judging by the head count I got as they emerged from the mountaintop. So yeah, tell me a bit more.
Yeah, I got this album when it was released, and I'd not heard them actually. I just got it on a whim because I had read a write-up the day it was released. So it happened to be. But and I think I did off camera say to you, I've got an album that's really interesting and psychedelic and odd, and this is it. And
Yeah, no shit.
I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. So and yeah, this is one of the more sort of hippie-ish, for want of a better word, songs in there. Oh, they've got other influences as well, but it all comes under a sort of umbrella. So, formed in Oxford in 2018, Hypnotic Psych Collective. You know you're in trouble when they call themselves a collective rather than a band.
Yeah.
Mandrake Handshake. They were christened after a song by the Brian Jonestown Massacre from their Thingy Wingy mini album, which is this one here. I do have all of these. And if we go down here, just look at the tracks on this album, actually. Pish, Pushy, Get Some Dust, Leave It Alone, Mandrake Handshake, and Here Comes the Waiting for the Sun. Wonder what that one's about. But as you can see, right in there is Mandrake. If it comes in focus,
Yes.
Mandrake Handshake. So there you
Yeah.
go. So that's where they got their name from,
Well, I'll be
bizarrely
damned.
enough.
That explains that.
So influences for the band range from krautrock, funk, Japanese animation. I think we call that anime. Latin pastoral poetry, and they create a unique style, self-dubbed flower kraut, which I really like because it's almost sauerkraut, but it's great.
I gotta
Which
say,
they
the way you described all of like what they picked from, that sounds like world music to me. It sounds like they're all over the map, throwing darts at it,
exactly.
extrapolating from these cultures and sounds. It's really, which is fucking cool. So I'm digging it.
Yeah. They describe it as a music to dance to with wild abandon or to meditate on, a fluorescent soundtrack for private investigations of the mind's inner worlds.
Mm.
So there's not a lot on the band out there, but I managed to grab this from the blurb from the website, and some of it appears on the back of this album. This is a lovely, it's a double 180 grand and like 2 disc album. It's really nice, and I don't know if you can see, but the details here, like these shooting stars, appear on the sort of label of one track. The worlds appear on the inside label of the other side of it. So various elements of the design appear on the record labels. Really nice. So anyway, here's some of the blurb from them. And it gives a little insight as well, because this is about all I've got on them. So the concept tying together every last note and lyric of Earth-Size Worlds, their album, which was released actually February this year. The debut album from the London/Oxford self-dubbed Flower Kraut collective, Mandrake Handshake, is an awfully simple one. Welcome to Space Beach. A mantra to unite under one aesthetic roof the various creative compulsions of this complex, multi-limbed organism, varying at any one time between 7 to 12 members. It's an album that conspires the alienating vastness of the cosmos against the warm nostalgias of home. Tape-soaked Brazilian sambas morph into comic krautrock crusades, and shimmering avant-garde electronics melt into sweetened psychedelic bliss. Welcome to the Space Beach, the new era of the Mandrake, here where the sea joins the sky and where the trees touch the stars and where we will have you stay a while. Yeah, heavy stuff. Outside Worlds is a record which is intentionally full of surprise, of left field turns and closeted experimentation. In close collaboration with producer Dom Kirtley across 9 intense 12-hour days at a rooftop studio in Woolwich, the band were like alchemists, swilling rarefied potions, mashing together fragments and ideas from artists as far-reaching as Georgia Smith, Sufjan Stevens, Pentangle, and Gong, bringing in steel drums, choirs, drum machines, and obscure percussions. They created their explosions, changing colours and shifting atmospheres. There's a whirling, tape-soaked intro-outro of Time Goes Up, like an unearthed grainy recording of a Brazilian samba band. Soon there's an 8 minutes of cascading Komishki krautrock, which in turn shatters into avant-garde shimmeriness of Charlie's Comet. There's a sumptuous pop-riddled gem of The Change and the Changeling. That is a great track. That soon dissolves into an orgiastic hypnotics of King Cnut and the battering Ramalama of Baron Mode. And just as it starts to get a little too unhinged, the closing track title, Mighty and Triumphant, clears the air and brings everything back into focus. So there you go.
I gotta say, the individual who penned that sounds like they may have dabbled in a little bit of flower kraut themselves, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So the collective, which includes a dedicated and flamboyant tambourine shaker, their pristine, multi-limbed spectacle of a live show has journeyed up and down the UK and the EU in recent times. Speaking more on the album, the band say, we, Mandrake Handshake, are all set to arrive at our first destination, Space Beach, a land of dichotomies, where the sea, you've heard of this before, the sea meets the sky and the trees reach up and tickle the bellies of the stars. Ooh. Space Beach is a marriage of the organic and mechanical, the intimate and the epic, and offers a heady draught from which you may gladly sup. Here, we're peering into this horizon. Blooms of planets and comets, asteroids and moons reveal themselves, and inside them, countless tales, victory and defeat, love and hate, future and past, all wrapped up in each of these Earth-sized worlds. So come in, join us, and stay a while. Lovely stuff, eh? So personnel, bear with me. So lead vocalist is Trinity Oksana, and that's definitely her real name and not made up.
I'm sure.
Rudy Simmons backing vocals, David Howard Baker, organ, piano, keyboards, flute, saxophone backing vocals, Jake Kavanagh bass guitar, Raul Jajua guitar, claves, steel drums, shaker backing vocals, Elvis Thirlwell tambourine, shaker, maracas, Giro, Tingsha claves, woodblock backing vocals, Charlie Arrowsmith guitar, Scott Curtis guitar, Joe Bordier, drums, bongos, backing vocals, and Moogie Man, synth, modular synthesis, organ, keyboards, backing vocals. And it says, with the help of Don Kirtley, piano, keyboards, and drums, Matt Surgeon Hartwell, djembe, bongos, backing vocals, Hazel Blatcher, backing vocals, Talis McDuffie, backing vocals, and James Ward, giant shaker.
That shaker was giant.
The album has a Metacritic score of 84, indicating universal acclaim.
Right.
Clash website says Mandrake Handshake have built a cult following through a hard-to-pin-down sound that incorporates elements of jazz, psychedelic rock, and so much more. The collective's debut LP, Earth-Size Worlds, delivers on their promise to date with a hypnotic first full release. King Cnut is a highlight, channeling indie folk with some of the more unorthodox sounds that the group brings. Sure to be a fan favourite. This is the debut that is hard to describe, and that works in its favour. It is a fascinating listen that defies categorization but never derails. There are musicians of the highest order, and clearly this is a labour of love that has been a long time in the making. It feels as if we're at the start of something excitingly new, cross-genre group with an LP that will reward multiple listens. And the Line of Best Fit website says, combining the influence of Jefferson Airplane with the subterranean riffs of Can, Mandrake Handshake take an undeniable cues from the late 60s zeitgeist, unbound progressive rock leaning scope that gears between kaleidoscopic melodies and vistas overlapping with each other in vivid fractal sonar patter. Without appearing arcane, Earthside Worlds snapshots the group in their element, continuing to breathe new life into the remnants of an often overlooked subgenre in a brain-frying madcap patchwork. There you go. Lyrics, they aren't a huge amount, and in the great traditions of sort of psychedelic lyrics, stuff and nonsense mainly, but you know, it sort of guides your trip, as it were. You never did it right. Shut out the light. Keep out of sight. I'm seeing your web of lies, your flimsy disguise. Put me at ease. Oh yes, please. I'm losing direction with introspection, disconnection. In this situation, alienation, fleeting delights. I'm all right. Why not burn down to ashes, all you fascists, all you punks? Give me apocalypse, bloody eclipse. Stop all your noise. Foolish boy. Oh, yes, please. And then it goes into that break, as you say, and she repeats the sort of the lines off the oohs from each verse. And then it goes, oh, yes, please. I'm all right. Foolish boy.
Okay.
She then does some vocalizing. There's some stuff I can't pick up exactly. Well, it probably is recycled lines. And then she finished with, oh, yes, please. So from Bandcamp, they wrote this. It is fabled the 10th/11th century ruler, King Cnut, tested his power by setting his throne on the shore and attempted to push back the incoming tides. Of course, the waters ignored his commands and continued to rise around his feet. Let all the world know that the power of kings is empty and worthless, cried the king. Someone had written that down. Much like our humble Dane, this track was written while feeling beaten by the tides of fortune. Broke, stuck indoors, with nothing much to do besides curse spiteful demagogues and pine for redemption. I wonder which demagogues they were referring to. The mind is black. So, Cnut, Cnut, also known as Canute, as we probably know the more familiar spelling. He was King of England from 1016. He was also King of Denmark from 1018, and also King of Norway from 1028 until his death in 1035. So 7 minutes. The three kingdoms united under Cnut's rule are referred to together as the North Sea Empire by historians. So I didn't know that he's had that sort of scope, but it's interesting. And just another little note, the Mandrake root is a mysterious specimen steeped in eccentric folklore, resembling the fleshy contours of a human body and form. Its caterwailing screams, for those blessed enough to hear it, have been known since biblical times to endow hallucinogenic insight upon the spiritually enlightened. And sort of Mandrake roots have featured in fictional writings. I know Mr. Gaiman has mentioned it in books of magic. And I believe it appeared in one of the Potter films as well, with the screaming Mandrake roots as well in one of their lessons, I'm sure of it. But there you go. So yeah, really fun, interesting collective, really nice sound, nothing fantastically new, but they blended it interestingly. And there's not a lot of this around at the moment, which makes it seem like a novelty to me. So just real fun. And you can tell from the video, a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I would totally agree with that. Even though they're like slightly pretentious issues aside, i.e., designating themselves a collective, I did really enjoy this, and I'm really interested to hear more from these guys. What was the other track that you had mentioned that you were like, that's a really good one?
Oh, the change thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a couple. There's one where they actually name check Can some of their songs in it, as you get this sort of krautrock sort of driving beat going through it. It was really
yeah.
nice. So yeah, I'll have a little sort of dig around and I'll pick another track for you to go down the line.
Excellent. Yeah, 'cause I'd like to hear more from them, but I don't want to also like blow any of your future plans. But
Yeah.
I would definitely be very interested to hear more of them on this channel if that is the case.
Yeah, there's not a lot to go at, just an album, a couple of EPs.
Right.
I think she's got a lovely tone to her voice as well, just the right amount of
Exactly.
sort of breathiness, and it just all fits together quite nicely. And as you quite rightly say, that guitar with that sort of bubbling wah to it, this almost sort of babbling brook sort of noise to it's great,
Yeah,
isn't it? It really
it is
is
absolutely.
evocative. Brilliant. I should wrap things up. Thanks for listening to this, Andy.
Thank you.
Folks out there, tell us what you think. If you like this, please hit the like button, and drop some comments. We'd love to hear from you. What do you think of this? Are you into this sort of augmented psychedelic rock flower kraut? Yeah, drop some comments. Let us know how your take is on this. Perhaps some more interesting nuggets about Mandrake Handshake, or any other handshake. Please do drop some comments. And if you haven't subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Because whatever you're waiting for, you're probably not going to get it. It's this, really. So yeah, please do hop on board. We do appreciate everybody who does support the channel. That being said, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see all of you on the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.